So I'm in Gallup, New Mexico. So I'm in Gallup, New Mexico. And this is a city that the last time I was here, I was passing through going to Phoenix, and we stayed in a hotel and someone was murdered in the parking lot of the hotel on the night that we stayed here. So I wanted to drive through a little bit and see what it looks like, because I don't really remember it other than the homicide that occurred in the parking lot of the hotel. So this is a city of 21,000 people, and it's been declining since 2019 by 1% a year, the population. And so we can't blame that on 2020, which is the reason most cities have declining populations. But this one started even before that. Yeah, there's places that are closed up. Let me turn the camera. A lot of these places are closed up. And I don't think we came through the downtown when I was here the last time. I think we just pulled off the freeway into a hotel and stayed in a hotel, and I don't remember coming through here at all. Yeah, a lot of this is closed up, but a lot of it's still open too. So it's 45% American Indian, 32% Hispanic. Oh yeah, a lot of this is closed up. They have gates on the doors of all these buildings, have gates on them because of the crime here. So it's 45% American Indian, 32% Hispanic, 15% white, 3% Asian, and 1% black. So fairly diverse, I guess, in a different way than most American cities are. The average age here is 34.5. Oh yeah, all this stuff is closed up. And you know it's bad, you know the crime's bad when literally every business has gates over the doors. But the average age is 34.5, which is a little on the low side. And 20% are senior citizens of the adults. So that's actually, you know, a little high, about normal, but a little high. Average income is $34,000 a year. Let's go up one of these roads. This isn't too interesting anymore. Oh, this is the road. I'm going to turn on. We're just going to cut through one of these. Wow, there's a pile of, look at that pothole, is huge. We're just going to drive through this car wash. There's a huge pile of snow right there. I decided through my time here in New Mexico that this isn't a place I'd want to live. If I wanted to live somewhere that got snow, I'd want to be at least up north or something where there's the snow on the ground. It's because it's supposed to, you know, I mean, this is like a desert. You'd think it would be a little bit warmer. Or you know, I don't know. I wouldn't want desert and snow, I guess, is what I'm saying. Anyway, so the poverty rate here is 28%. That's really high. That's 1 out of every 3 people basically here live in poverty. There's a 38% marriage rate, which is a little low, but for bad cities, it's actually kind of high for a city that's bad. But 20% are seniors, so most of the people that are married are probably the seniors. Let's go up through some of these houses. 66% of the people that live here were born here. Which that's a little low, but kind of normal at the same time. And it showed that there were 5% were non-citizens. Which any time I see that when it's this close to the border, I kind of question whether that number's true. Because you really have, somebody has to say they're a non-citizen for them to count in the census as a non-citizen. They have 5 or less homicides a year. In 2020, their murder rate was 23.3. And in 2022, the murder rate was 9.4. So this was another one of the cities that was hit hard from the 2020 stuff that was going on. Their assault rate is where they put themselves on the map as one of the more dangerous cities. Their assault rate ranges between 1,000 and 1,600. So Baltimore's about 933. And Detroit is about 1,700. So the assault rates here are somewhere between, let me get this camera straight. The assault rates here range somewhere between Baltimore and Detroit. So that says a lot about what the city is like. And part of that is because their population is so small that they, it doesn't take as many incidents to get all their numbers up really higher when you do it on a per capita basis. Some of these houses don't look all that bad, though. I mean, maybe they could use a little touch-up, but they don't look, like, really bad by any means. But the violent crime here, I gave you the stats, but to get the statistic as it would compare to the national average, is 320% higher than the national average. 320%. That's really high. And your odds of becoming a victim of a violent crime are 1 in 65. And overall of any crime, 1 in 16, which is about normal. The 1 in 16 is about normal for a city with high crime. Oh, there's a boarded up house, but that's the first one that I've seen that's been boarded up. And year-over-year crime here is up 5%. So not only is it already bad, and actually the homicides had dropped significantly from 2020 to 2022, and they're still up, going up 5%. So things must have gone down, and now it's starting to go back up again. The cost of living here is much lower than the U.S. average, and housing is about 28% lower. So if you wanted to move here, you'd probably be able to buy a house relatively cheap. And the schools, this is, when you see the school test scores, that tells you how bad the crime is in a city. Because the test scores here, 28% of the kids that graduate high school are proficient in reading and math. 28%. New Mexico is 27% overall for the state average, and America is 48%. So although this city is low by American standards, it's slightly better than New Mexico standards. Not by enough to brag about, but slightly better. We'll just drive through a little more of this downtown area. So basically the test scores here are 42% lower than the nation. And about 76% of the people here have completed high school. So 3 out of 4 people have completed high school. Let's drive through a little more of this. It doesn't look, I mean, when you drive through some places that have super bad crime, it looks like they have super bad crime. Some of it's a little run down. There were a lot, well, aside from how every building on that one road had the gates over the doors, they don't have that here on these blocks. Let's turn up this one. Oh, yeah, no, they all still have the gates on the doors. They all still have the gates on the doors. Well, that one doesn't. But you know when they do that it's bad, but there's little bits of graffiti here and there, but nothing big, more just like squigglies where somebody's putting like their initials or something, it looks like. But it's not overly graffitied up, and there's not a lot of garbage or anything anywhere. I mean, there's garbage, but not to the degree you'd think when you see the violent crime is 320% worse. And it's mostly, again, like I said, it's mostly due to assaults. So this might be another city that the reason the violent crime is as high as it is they got a lot of domestic violence incidents here. Because it's, sorry about the camera, because otherwise it doesn't look like a place that has a whole lot of like shootings or something where there's gangs hanging out and stuff like that. But the violent crime rate is high enough that, let's go down here. The violent crime rate is high enough that it's got to be stuff that's more domestic in nature. I'm going to go up a couple more roads just to see if we can find something else. This is the road we initially came in on. But my experience with this city, like I said at the beginning, was we stayed here one night while on a road trip a long time ago, actually. And we stayed here one night and someone was killed in the parking lot of the hotel. And so I had always told myself that I was never going to come back here again. And here I am, but that's only because when you have a crime channel and you were someplace that, yeah, all this stuff is boarded up. GoPro cut out again. When you have a crime channel that you're running, going to places that somebody was murdered in a parking lot while you were there, has got to be top on your list. Now, it's early in the morning, so there's not a lot of people out. But it doesn't look as bad as what the statistics say it is. But yeah, even down here, everything's got the bars on the doors. Well, these don't. This must be a building that doesn't have anything inside for somebody to steal. Christmas store, Lucky Loans, yeah. This side of the street now. Yeah, that's all boarded up. That's all boarded up. I don't know what that building was, but that's all boarded up. But it's not, a lot of the stuff was open. it was just all like chained up with the bars on the doors. Broken glass. There's a lot of broken glass. I didn't see a lot of garbage, but I did see a lot of broken glass. It's a gas station that looks like it went away. This building straight ahead here is all closed up. And this is the downtown area, so, and the houses outside of the downtown. Where we would have stayed in the hotel would have been right off the freeway on the other side of the freeway, I think. So we weren't anywhere near any of this. So it's possible this isn't the worst part of town. Let's just go up one more road. We'll go up one more road. Yeah, this is all that actually is closed up, but it's got bars on all the windows. We'll just go up one more block and see if things, now that we're a few blocks away from where we were, if things get better or worse down this way. But there's really not, you can see, I don't know how much you can see on the camera, but there's really not a lot of garbage. There is some, but nowhere near what you would expect from a city that has a violent crime that's at 320% worse than the national average. I mean, that's like, I don't remember what Detroit is, but I think that's what Detroit is as an overall city. Obviously, Detroit has neighborhoods that are way worse, but the city overall average, I think, of Detroit is probably in around the same as this. But it's not, doesn't look as bad as what I would have expected. Which probably does mean a lot of the assaults are like bar fights or domestic in nature. Well, that's going to be it then for Gallup, New Mexico. And like I said, it's a cheap city. Actually, I'm going to go up this way a little bit. It's a cheap city if you want to live someplace that's cheap. And the crime is high, but I imagine it's not. The assaults anyway, that hotel closed up. The assaults anyway are probably, I'm guessing, either like bar fights or domestic in nature. That lodge, they must have, at one time, they have a lot of hotels here. Those two were just closed up. This is the main road that we came in on, but going the other direction. Yeah, it's, I mean, there's nothing spectacular about it, but there's nothing that's overly bad about it either. That guy's got a mask on. Maybe just because it's cold. Okay, well, I'm going to cut this out here because we pretty much saw everything there was to see. But not a bad looking city for what the crime statistics say.